Whispers among stardust. Nico Aldrin adjusted the oxygen mixture in his suit as the salvage ship, Nomad's Fortune, drifted silently through the shattered expanse. A field of crystalline debris that had once been the homeworld of a civilization whose name had been forgotten by all but the most dedicated xenoarchaeologists. Command thinks there's nothing valuable left here, he muttered to himself, scanning the violet-tinged asteroid field. Everyone's already picked this graveyard clean. His scanner pulsed rhythmically, detecting faint energy signatures that shouldn't exist in a dead zone. 3 centuries since the cataclysm had reduced the mighty Xenovari Empire to cosmic dust, yet something still lived among the fragments. Nico navigated through a narrow passage between 2 massive crystalline structures, their surfaces etched with symbols no human translator had ever deciphered. The scanner's pulse quickened as he approached a perfectly spherical chamber at the center of the debris field, something his instruments classified as impossible, a pocket of stable space-time in a region torn apart by gravitational forces. Headquarters won't believe this, he whispered, adjusting his helmet camera to record everything. The chamber walls shimmered, with an opalescent light that seemed to breathe, responding to his presence. The interior was hollow. Suspended at its center floated what appeared to be a woman, though her skin glowed with a soft purple luminescence. Her form was humanoid, yet unmistakably alien, her features delicate and regal, eyes closed as if in deep sleep. Nico checked his sensors again. No life signs yet, something's active, he said to his ship's AI. What am I looking at, Vex? The AI's voice crackled through his comm. Unknown entity. Composition suggests Xenovari royal caste, possibly preserved in quantum stasis. Recommend extreme caution. Physical contact with Xenovari energy forms historically impossible for humans due to phase variance. He approached cautiously, studying the suspended figure. Her long silver-white hair floated around her as if underwater, though there was no liquid present, only the strange energy field that contained her. The purple glow of her skin pulsed slightly brighter as he drew closer. She's responding to my presence. Nico realized, his heart racing. Against all protocol and Vex's urgent warnings, Nico reached toward the barrier that separated them, expecting his hand to meet resistance. Instead, it passed through the field, a sensation like cold fire, washing over his skin. The suspended figure's eyes snapped open, revealing irises of deep violet that seemed to contain galaxies. Within seconds, the chamber filled with blinding light, and Nico was thrown backward, his suit sensors screaming warnings as energy coursed through him. When his vision cleared, she stood before him, no longer suspended but fully corporeal, her purple skin glowing with internal light. Her eyes fixed on him with a mixture of shock and curiosity. You shouldn't be able to touch me, human, she said, her voice echoing strangely as if coming from everywhere at once. No creature of flesh has ever breached my sanctuary. Nico struggled to his feet. Who are you? He asked. I am Tylira, last queen of the Xenovari, she replied, studying him intently. And you, impossible one, have just awakened the last remnant of a civilization your kind thought extinct. Her hand reached toward his faceplate, a strange expression crossing her features as her fingers made contact with the transparent material. Curious that the universe would send you now after all this time. Alarm klaxons suddenly blared from Nico's ship. Proximity alert, multiple vessels approaching at high velocity. Vex announced, energy signatures match relic, syndicate configurations. Tylira's expression hardened. The hunters, they sense my awakening. She turned to Nico. Your touch has broken my stasis, human. Now we must flee or die together. Nico made a split-second decision. My ship is docked nearby. Can you survive in vacuum? My form is energy, not flesh, she replied. But I cannot maintain cohesion for long without shelter. Then stay close, he said, activating his thrusters. And pray my impossible touch is enough to keep you together. As they fled toward the Nomad's Fortune, 3 black ships emerged from hyperspace, their weapon systems powering up. The hunt had begun. Violet bonds in void space. The Nomad's Fortune shuddered violently as Nico pushed the engines beyond safety parameters. Purple energy crackled around the control panel as Talira placed her hands on the ship's navigation system. The pursuing Syndicate vessels fired another volley of disruptor beams, narrowly missing the starboard engine. "They're gaining," Nico growled, fingers dancing across the controls. "Vex reroute auxiliary power to the aft shields." "They hunt what they cannot understand," Talira said, her voice resonating with multiple tones. Her form flickered slightly, the edges of her purple silhouette becoming momentarily transparent. "The Syndicate believes my kind holds secrets to immortality. They are not entirely wrong." The ship lurched sideways as Nico executed a desperate maneuver through a dense cluster of crystalline debris. The closest Syndicate vessel attempted to follow but miscalculated its approach. A satisfying explosion lit up the view screen as jagged crystal shards tore through its hull. "One down," Nico said grimly, "but we can't outrun them forever." Talira's violet eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made his skin tingle. "There is another way," she whispered. "My people created hidden pathways through spacetime. Only Xenovari energy can activate them. But your touch—" She hesitated. "Your impossible touch might bridge our essences." Without waiting for his response, she moved behind him, placing her hands on his shoulders. The sensation was unlike anything Nico had ever experienced. A current of energy flowed between them, his mind suddenly filled with star maps and coordinates no human had ever seen. There, she guided his hands to a specific sector of space that appeared empty on all scanners. "Trust what you feel, not what your instruments tell you." Nico swallowed hard and directed the ship toward the invisible coordinates the remaining Syndicate vessels closed in weapons charging. "If you're wrong, we're dead," he muttered. "If I'm right, we will disappear from their reality." She countered, her fingers tightening on his shoulders. As the Nomad's fortune reached the coordinates, Talira began to glow brighter, her energy flowing through Nico into the ship itself. For a moment nothing happened. Then, space itself seemed to fold around them. The view screen filled with impossible colors as the normal laws of physics suspended. When reality stabilized again, they were somewhere else. A vast empty sector of space with no stars, no planets. Only the distant glow of a nebula, painting the darkness with swirls of blue and gold. Nico checked the navigation system. "We're nowhere according to the charts," he breathed. "How?" "A pocket dimension." Talira explained, her form wavering as she moved away from him. "A sanctuary my people created during the final days of the war." She stumbled suddenly, her purple light dimming. Nico caught her before she fell, surprised again that his hands could touch what should be intangible energy. Her form felt solid in his grasp, warm and strangely familiar. "You're weakening," he observed, helping her to the small sleeping quarters. "The transition drained me," she admitted. "Without my stasis chamber, my energy disperses more quickly. I require—" She paused, searching for words. "Sustenance." "What do you need?" Nico asked. "The ship has basic provisions, but I'm guessing you don't eat protein packs." A faint smile curved her lips. "My kind feeds on emotion and psychic energy," she explained. "In my weakened state, physical proximity to a compatible consciousness would help stabilize my form." Nico raised an eyebrow. "You're saying you need to be near me?" "Your consciousness resonates at a frequency I've never encountered in humans before," she said, studying him. "It's why you could touch me when others could not. 1,000,000,000 cosmic coincidence, or perhaps," her voice softened, "something else." Without fully understanding why, Nico sat beside her on the narrow bunk. "Will this help?" She nodded, moving closer until the purple glow of her skin illuminated his features. Her form seemed more solid now, less likely to fade into nothingness. The strange intimacy of the moment wasn't lost on him. This creature, last of her kind, thousands of years old yet appearing no older than him, was drawing life from his very presence. "Who are you, Nico Aldrin?" she asked her, voice a whisper. "What makes you different from all other humans?" "Nothing that I know of," he answered honestly, former military pilot turned salvage hunter. No special abilities, no remarkable history. Just a man trying to survive in a universe that doesn't care. Talira's hand rose to his face, her touch sending a pleasant current across his skin. Your modesty is admirable, but incorrect. There is something within you, something ancient and familiar. Her eyes searched his, something that calls to me across the void between species. The ship's emergency lights cast shadows across her features, highlighting the ethereal beauty of her alien face. For a creature of pure energy, she appeared remarkably human in that moment, vulnerable and questioning. "How long can we stay here?" he asked, changing the subject, uncomfortable with the intensity of her gaze. "A few cycles, perhaps," she replied. "The Syndicate cannot follow, but they will search. They always search." "And after that?" Talira's expression grew distant. "There is a place, the Temple of Echoes, where the last knowledge of my people was stored. If we can reach it, perhaps we can understand why you alone can touch me. Why our energies align when such a thing should be impossible." Nico nodded slowly, aware that his life had irrevocably changed in the span of hours. "Then that's where we'll go." As if responding to his decision, Talira's form brightened, her purple energy stabilizing. He noticed that when their skin touched, tiny motes of light danced between them, connecting in ways he couldn't comprehend. "Rest now," she said softly. "Our journey has only begun, and the path ahead holds dangers neither of us can predict." In the quiet sanctuary of void space, Nico closed his eyes, aware of the alien queen watching over him. Her presence, a violet glow behind his eyelids, felt strangely like coming home. Heart frequencies. Morning aboard a spaceship was an artificial concept, but Nico's body clock insisted on maintaining the rhythm. His eyes opened to find Talira, hovering near the viewport, her form more substantial than the previous cycle. The purple glow of her skin cast dancing patterns across the bulkhead as she studied the distant nebula. "You're looking stronger," he observed, sitting up on the narrow bunk. "Sleep well?" Talira turned, a faint smile playing across her lips. "My kind doesn't sleep as you understand it. I entered a meditative state to conserve energy." She moved closer, her movements fluid and graceful. "Your presence has been remarkably restorative. Even at a distance, I can draw subtle energies from your consciousness." Nico ran a hand through his disheveled hair. "Glad I could help, though it's still strange to think I'm somehow feeding you just by existing." "Not just existing," she corrected. "Your emotional spectrum is unusually vibrant for a human. Most of your kind project simpler patterns, but yours." She hesitated, searching for words. "Yours has depth and complexity, like layers of music playing simultaneously." The ship's computer interrupted their conversation. Approaching the coordinates of Nexus 7, Vex announced, "Sensors detect minimal power signatures, abandoned as predicted." The view screen shifted, showing a small asteroid that had been hollowed out and converted into a research outpost. Abandoned during the cataclysm, it now floated in the emptiness, its solar arrays still functioning enough to maintain basic life support. "A Xenovari outpost," Talira confirmed. "One of many where my people studied human consciousness. We believed your species held evolutionary potential beyond your understanding." The Nomad's fortune docked with minimal difficulties. The airlock cycled open, revealing corridors lit only by emergency lighting. Dust floated in, the stale air undisturbed for centuries. "The Temple of Echoes is still days away, even at maximum speed," Nico explained, checking his oxygen levels. "We need supplies and information. This outpost might have both." They moved through the abandoned facility, Talira's glow providing better illumination than Nico's flashlight. Most rooms contained only broken equipment and decayed furnishings. But as they reached the central laboratory, Talira froze, her expression one of recognition. "This was a compatibility research center," she whispered. "My people were studying human Xenovari resonance patterns." The main console still held power when activated. Ancient data scrolled across screens in the flowing script of Talira's people. Nico watched. As she interfaced directly with the system, her energy merging with the technology. They were looking for humans with specific neural patterns, she translated, frequencies that might align with Xenovari energy signatures. A theoretical possibility, never proven. Her eyes widened as she continued reading. Until now. She turned to Nico. They found evidence of rare humans whose consciousness resonated at frequencies compatible with our own. The researchers called them bridge souls humans, whose minds could potentially touch Xenovari energy without phase disruption. Nico approached the console. Are you saying I'm one of these bridge souls? The research was never completed, she replied. But it would explain your ability to touch. Me when all others cannot, it would explain why I feel. She paused, her violet eyes meeting his, drawn to you in ways I cannot fully articulate. A strange tension filled the space between them. Neither human nor alien seemed willing to break the silence, until a distant metallic clang echoed through the facility. We're not alone, Nico whispered, drawing his sidearm. Vex, secure the ship, prepare for emergency departure. They moved cautiously toward the source of the sound. Nico's combat training. Evident in his movements, Talira glided beside him, her energy form dimmed to reduce visibility. As they rounded a corner, they encountered a man in a black exosuit marked with the insignia of the Relic Syndicate. The intruder fired without warning, a pulse weapon designed specifically for energy disruption. Talira cried out as the beam passed through her form, destabilizing her cohesion. Nico responded with practiced precision, his weapon finding its mark. The Syndicate agent fell, but the damage was done. Talira. Nico rushed to her side as her purple form flickered dangerously. Stay with me. More will come, she whispered, her voice distorted. That was a scout. The Syndicate has found us. Nico helped her back toward the ship, but halfway, there her form began to dissipate further. I cannot maintain cohesion, she gasped. The disruption beam has damaged my energy matrix. Without thinking, Nico pulled her against him, wrapping his arms around what should have been intangible energy. Focus on me, he commanded. Use whatever connects us, take what you need. Their faces inches apart. Nico felt a current pass between them. Talira's eyes locked with his as she drew energy directly from him. The sensation was overwhelming, intimate, in ways he couldn't comprehend. His consciousness seemed to expand, touching hers across the void that separated their species. Your essence, she whispered, her form stabilizing where their bodies connected. It calls to mind like nothing I've ever known. In that moment, something fundamental shifted between them. The barrier between human and alien became permeable. Nico felt her emotions flowing into him, ancient loneliness, pride, determination, and something deeper, more personal, directed at him alone. Their lips met in an impulse neither fully understood. The contact sent waves of purple light cascading around them, Talira's form becoming more solid, more present with each passing second. When they finally separated, both were breathing, hard though Talira had no biological need for oxygen. That was Nico started, unable to find adequate words. Unprecedented. She finished, a new warmth in her voice. No Xenovari has ever experienced such direct consciousness sharing with another species. The researchers were right. Bridge souls exist in you. Her hand touched his face. Our proof. The facility's alarm system suddenly blared to life. Multiple ships approaching. Vex reported through Nico's communicator. Syndicate signatures. Confirmed Commander Dravos leading the assault force. We need to move, Nico said, reluctantly breaking their connection. Can you maintain form long enough to reach the ship? Talira nodded. What just happened between us has strengthened me considerably. A ghost of a smile crossed her lips, though I wouldn't object to further research on the phenomenon. As they raced toward the docking bay, Nico couldn't help but wonder at the impossibility of it all. A human salvager and an alien queen finding. Connection across species barriers. A cosmic accident or something written in the very fabric of existence. Dravos won't stop hunting us, he said as they reached the nomad's fortune. He's obsessed with Xenovari energy manipulation, the things he could do with your powers. Then we must reach the temple before he does, Telira replied, her determination evident. There we might find answers and perhaps. Her fingers intertwined with his in a very human gesture, a way to make this impossible connection permanent. The ship disengaged from the outpost as syndicate vessels appeared on the horizon. Their escape would be narrow, but Nico felt a new resolve. The connection between them was no longer just about survival. It had become something. Neither had anticipated something that defied the natural order of the universe yet felt undeniably right. Quantum entanglement. The gas giant. Aetherius loomed before them, its swirling azure clouds concealing storms powerful enough to tear a starship apart. Nico guided the Nomad's fortune along the upper atmosphere, using the electromagnetic interference to mask their signature from the pursuing syndicate fleet. Vex status report. He called, adjusting the shields to compensate for increasing pressure. Hull integrity at 78%. The AI responded. Engine efficiency declining due to particulate. Contamination. Syndicate vessels maintaining pursuit pattern, but unable to achieve weapons lock in current conditions. Beside him, Telira monitored the energy fluctuations, her purple form seeming to resonate with the planet's unusual magnetic field. The Temple of Echoes orbits this world, she explained. Hidden within a pocket of folded spacetime, my people believed Aetherius's unique properties could shield our most sacred knowledge from those who would misuse it. Well, it's doing a fine job of hiding it from us too, Nico muttered as turbulence rocked the ship. I'm not detecting anything that could be a temple. Telira placed her hand over his on the control panel. The now familiar current flowed between them as she guided his movements. Your instruments cannot perceive it, but I can sense its presence. Her violet eyes closed in concentration. There beneath that storm vortex, a distortion in reality, trusting her completely. Nico adjusted course, diving deeper into the atmosphere. The ship groaned in protest as external pressure increased. The viewscreen filled with swirling gases and electrical discharges. Hull integrity at 62%, Vex warned. Structural failure imminent if current descent continues. Just a little further. Telira insisted, her form beginning to glow brighter, responding to some energy source only she could detect. Suddenly the clouds parted, revealing not open space but an impossible structure floating within the atmosphere. A vast, crystalline temple, its architecture defying conventional physics. The building seemed to exist partially in normal space and partially elsewhere, sections appearing and disappearing as if breathing. The Temple of Echoes. Telira whispered reverence. In her voice, last repository of Xenovari wisdom. As they approached, a hangar materialized within the crystalline structure, inviting them to dock. Before Nico could react, the ship's systems began shutting down one by one. External control established. Vex announced, "We are being guided in." The Nomad's fortune settled onto a crystalline platform, its engines powering down automatically. The surrounding hangar shifted, becoming more solid, more real with each passing moment, as if the temple was adjusting to their presence. The syndicate vessels have lost our signature, Vex confirmed. However, their search pattern suggests they will locate this anomaly within approximately 47 minutes. Then we'd better hurry, Nico said, rising from his seat. What are we looking for exactly? Telira moved toward the airlock, her steps light and purposeful. The heart chamber. The place where the collective consciousness of my people was stored before the cataclysm. She turned to him, her expression suddenly vulnerable. What we discover there may change everything between us. You should be prepared for that possibility. The temple interior defied human architecture. Corridors shifted and realigned themselves as they walked. Crystalline walls hummed with subtle energy responding to Telira's presence. Light seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere, simultaneously creating an environment that felt both ancient and timeless. As they ventured deeper, Nico noticed Telira's form growing more vibrant, more defined. This place is strengthening you, he observed. I am connected to it, she confirmed. All Xenovari royalty were quantum linked to the temple. our consciousness partially stored within its matrix. Her expression grew distant. I can feel echoes of my people, whispers of knowledge waiting to be reclaimed. They reached a vast circular chamber at the temple's core. A pulsing crystalline structure floated at its center, emitting waves of energy that matched the rhythm of Talira's glow. Perfect resonance, the heart, she said, approaching the crystal, repository of all Xenovari knowledge and history. As she touched the structure, the entire chamber illuminated with blinding intensity. Streams of data, energy consciousness flowed into her. Her form expanded, growing brighter until Nico had to shield his eyes. When the light subsided, she stood transformed, her presence more powerful, more complete, yet somehow more vulnerable. I remember, she whispered, turning to him, tears of luminescent energy sliding down her cheeks. I remember everything. The war. The fall of our civilization. The choice I made to enter stasis until someone worthy could awaken us. Her eyes found his. It was always meant to be you, Nico, before he could respond. Alarm klaxons echoed through the temple. The crystalline walls pulsed with warning energy. The Syndicate has found us, Talira said, urgency in her voice. Dravos has breached the outer defenses. They rushed back toward the hangar, but halfway there, the corridor ahead exploded in a shower of crystal fragments. Armed Syndicate agents poured through the breach, led by a tall figure in an elaborate exosuit. Commander Dravos, his face visible behind a transparent helmet. His eyes locked on Talira. With fanatical intensity, the Xenovari queen, he breathed. After all these years, he raised a specialized weapon. Your energy will elevate humanity to godhood. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. The weapon fired not at Talira, but at Nico, a disruptor. Beam designed to sever the connection between them. Talira moved with impossible speed, placing herself between Nico and the beam. The energy struck her directly, causing her form to destabilize violently. No! Nico shouted, catching her as she collapsed, the purple light of her being flickering dangerously. Foolish creature. Dravos laughed, advancing. Your attachment to this human weakens you. We have studied your kind for centuries. We know how to harvest your energy. Talira's form continued to destabilize in Nico's arms. I cannot maintain cohesion, she whispered. The disruptor has severed my connection to the heart. Stay with me. Nico pleated his hands, trying to contain her fading energy. You can't leave now. Not when we've come so far. Her eyes found his, a sad smile on her fading features. What we discovered here, what we created between us, it was never supposed to exist. A human and a Xenovari, connected across the void between species, an impossibility made real. Then let's keep defying the impossible, Nico said, desperation in his voice. Tell me how to save you. There is a way, she whispered. But the cost. I don't care about the cost, he interrupted. Tell me. Complete quantum entanglement. She explained, her voice weakening. My consciousness merged with yours. Our energies permanently intertwined. It has never been attempted between different species. The risk to you. Do it, he said without hesitation. Dravos and his soldiers approached, weapons raised. Step away from the queen human, the commander ordered. Her energy belongs to all mankind, not just one unworthy scavenger. Ignoring the threat, Nico pulled Talira closer. How do we begin? With her remaining strength, she placed her hands on either side of his face. Open your mind completely to me, hide nothing, fear nothing. Her violet eyes captured his. This will change you forever, Nico Aldrin. Are you certain? More certain than I've ever been about anything, he replied. Their foreheads touched and the universe seemed to explode around them. Nico's consciousness expanded beyond his physical form, touching Talira's ancient mind. Their memories flowed together, human and alien perspectives, merging, forming something entirely new. Neither fully human nor fully Xenovari, but a bridge between worlds. Through their joined perception, they became aware of Dravos raising his weapon again. the syndicate commander's expression changing from triumph to horror as the energy surrounding Nico and Talira intensified, growing brighter, hotter, more powerful. "What are you doing?" Dravos demanded, taking a step back. "Stop this immediately." But there was no stopping what had begun. Their quantum entanglement created a feedback loop of escalating power, waves of purple-gold energy expanding outward. Nico felt himself simultaneously dissolving and becoming more real, more present than he'd ever been. Talira's consciousness wrapped around his, their separate identities blurring, at the edges becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. When the light faded, Nico stood changed. His eyes now held flecks of violet energy coursed beneath his skin in subtle patterns. Talira's form had stabilized, but she too was transformed, more solid, more present in physical reality. Their hands remained joined, a visible current flowing between them. "Impossible," Dravos whispered, his weapon dropping from nerveless fingers. "You've become what we were always meant to be," they answered, in perfect unison, their voices harmonizing in a way that made the temple itself resonate, the bridge between worlds. The transformed pair turned their attention to the syndicate forces. Energy gathered around them, not as a weapon, but as a demonstration of power. Dravos fell to his knees, his soldiers backing away. "Leave this place," Nico and Talira commanded together. "The Temple of Echoes is not for those who seek only power. It is for those who seek understanding, faced with forces they couldn't comprehend." The syndicate retreated, Dravos casting one last look of mingled fear and longing over his shoulder, before disappearing through the breach. When they were alone again, Nico and Talira's shared consciousness began to separate, returning to individual forms, though the connection between them remained. "What happened?" Nico asked, touching his face, feeling the subtle energy that now coursed beneath his skin. "What are we now?" "Something new," Talira replied, her hand finding his. "Something unprecedented in the history of either of our species. Our consciousnesses remain partially entangled, our energies forever linked." Her expression grew serious. "But this is only the beginning. The knowledge I reclaimed from the heart. It speaks of greater purpose for such a union." "What purpose?" he asked. "The rebirth of both our kinds," she answered. "Not as separate species, but as something new, something that transcends our limitations." Her eyes met his. "The syndicate will return. Dravos will not abandon his obsession. And what we've become, what we could become, will draw others even more dangerous." Nico nodded, understanding flowing between them without words. "Then we'd better be ready." As they returned to the nomad's fortune, their hands remained linked, a visible current of purple-gold energy flowing between them. Whatever awaited them in the stars ahead, they would face it together. Human and alien queen, bridged across the impossible void between species by a touch that should never have been possible. Starbound souls. The ancient Xenovari temple shimmered against the backdrop of stars, its crystalline structure fully revealed, now that they had activated its primary systems. Nico stood at the control interface, his skin occasionally pulsing with violet energy, a permanent reminder of his quantum entanglement with Talira. The syndicate armada hung in orbit, 20 ships strong, their weapons powered but holding fire. Dravos has assembled quite the welcoming committee. Nico observed his consciousness partially merged with the temple's systems. They've called in reinforcements from 3 sectors. Talira moved beside him, her purple form more vibrant than ever. She placed her hand over his, sending pleasant energy, currents through their shared connection. The final confrontation was inevitable. The knowledge we've uncovered threatens everything the syndicate has built. Their entire power structure, the past weeks had transformed them both. Their quantum entanglement had stabilized, creating something unprecedented in the galaxy. A human with Xenovari energy flowing through his cellular structure. An alien queen who could now experience physical sensation in ways her kind never could. And between them a bond that transcended mere physical attraction. Their minds touched constantly, sharing thoughts, emotions, memories across species barriers. The heart chamber is ready, Talira said, turning toward the temple core. The accumulated knowledge of my people, combined with your human perspective, it could change everything. Together they entered the vast spherical room where the collective consciousness of the Xenovari race had been stored. The crystalline matrix at its center pulsed in rhythm with their heartbeats, recognizing the unique energy signature of their union. If we proceed, Nico said, voicing the concern that flowed between them, there's no going back. The energy release will be detected across half the galaxy. Talira's eyes met his, a universe of understanding passing between them. My people believed that someday our kinds would evolve beyond physical limitations, that consciousness itself could transcend species barriers. Her hand touched his face. They never imagined it would happen like this, through love rather than technology. Is that what this is? Nico asked, a smile playing at his lips. Love? What else would you call something that defies every natural law? She replied. Something that shouldn't exist, yet feels more right than anything in the universe? Before he could respond, the temple shuddered under sudden impact. The syndicate had begun their assault. Dravos grows impatient, Nico observed. We're out of time. They positioned themselves on either side of the heart crystal. Their hands joined across it, creating a circuit of energy, human consciousness, Xenovari essence, and the accumulated wisdom of an ancient civilization flowing together. Whatever comes next, Talira whispered, know that finding you made eternity worthwhile. The temple rocked with another barrage of weapons fire, the syndicate forces closing in. Dravos's fanatic desire to possess Xenovari energy driving him to desperate measures. Nico and Talira locked eyes one final time. Their joined hands pulsed with increasing power as they channeled their unique energy into the heart crystal. Together, they said in perfect unison. The crystal between them shattered, not in destruction, but in transformation, its energy merging with theirs. The boundaries between them, human and Xenovari flesh and energy past and future, all dissolved in a moment of perfect unity. A pulse of violet gold light expanded outward from the temple, engulfing the syndicate fleet, Dravos's forces, the nearby systems. Everything touched by that light was changed, not destroyed but elevated. When awareness returned to them, Nico and Talira found themselves transformed. Their separate forms now optional manifestations of a greater shared consciousness. They could exist as individuals or merge completely, moving between states at will. What have we become? Nico wondered, observing the changed universe around them. What both our peoples were always meant to evolve into. Talira answered, the bridge between matter and energy, between separate consciousness and unified being. The syndicate fleet hung motionless in space. Dravos and his followers forever changed by what they had witnessed. Some would become allies. Others would flee to distant stars, spreading word of what had occurred here. A new possibility in the universe. A new path of evolution. Nico extended his hand to Talira, their fingers intertwining in a gesture that had become sacred between them. Where do we go now? Everywhere, she replied, her violet eyes reflecting starlight. The universe has always been divided between matter and energy, between separate species struggling to understand each other. Her free hand gestured toward the vast cosmos. We are the proof that division is an illusion, that connection across every barrier is possible. As the temple began to dissolve around them, its purpose fulfilled, they stepped into the void of space, their joined consciousness protecting them. Beyond the known stars, other civilizations awaited other divisions to heal, other impossibilities to make real. You shouldn't have been able to touch me, human. Talira whispered, an echo of their first meeting. Yet here we are, Nico replied as their forms merged once more, becoming a single point of violet gold light, touching the universe itself. The light that had once been a human salvager and an alien queen streaked across the cosmos, their story already becoming legend, a tale of connection across impossible barriers of a touch that should never have happened. of love that transcended the very nature of existence itself, and in their wake the stars themselves seemed to burn a little brighter.